Well, it's already good afternoon. So, good afternoon. Between Nagesh and I hope we can provide two bookends in the sense that if you wanted to look at the topography of the Western Ghats, you need to go out and with trekking shoes and look at it. But you also need to look at it from 40,000 feet up. And what I'm hoping to do today is provide to you the sort of the aerial view of what is happening with some aspects of analytics, of measurement, metrics, and so forth. So in terms of the agenda, these are the 5 things I want to touch with you. Let's begin, which is the introduction. Then I want to, as was mentioned in our last speech, data by itself can be mind-numbing when it's displayed, even though it's extremely useful. So I want to show you trends, but try to avoid using numbers. So I'm calling it a staccato trends tsunami, just to give you an idea that there are many things happening that we, as business people, forget about marketers, need to be watching extremely closely because any one of them has the impact to change our worlds. And again, not just the business world, but our world as we know it, our lives. Then to put things into a little bit of perspective, I've created 5 kind of extreme narratives. The end of this, the end of that. I'm calling the 5 the end narratives. So I want to throw that at you. They are more to provoke discussion. Not all of them were invented by me. They've been bandied about in media, particularly in media deal with business and marketing issues. A little bit of discussion of these, and then, no, really, it will be the end at the end of all this. So that's the agenda that I hope to accomplish. Also, in case the allotted time of 30 minutes is over, may I request that I do want to answer questions, but there is a panel opportunity. So if there is no time left, then let's use that for the Q&A. So let's begin. Basically, marketing in general, but anything strategic in the business field has a dualism, has a character which is black and white. And this has been known for a long time. In the field of retailing, some of the biggest innovations came about when the Wanamaker department store opened in Philadelphia in 1903. The founder, owner, John Wanamaker, brought in some of the most interesting things that we consider to be routine in terms of retail displays, store layout, the absolutely dazzling ambiance of a department store. But he also made this first critical statement about marketing analytics, that I know that half of my advertising doesn't work. The problem is that I don't know which half. Okay, so that was the statement which you have heard, but the source of it is John Wanamaker. And this issue continues to dog us today. The only thing I would say is I think 2012 was the year when this statement has started losing its relevance to some extent. 2012, many people have characterized as the year of the big data. In my personal life, I started experiencing, I was doing some online Christmas shopping. I wanted to buy a camera for my wife and didn't want her to know, so I was going to all these different sites. And soon, in everything that I went to, email, my social network sites, I started getting all kinds of very, very targeted, relevant messages, not just about cameras, not just about, but about the particular brands that I was looking at, particular price points that I was looking at, very targeted in terms of the days, saying, in the next 2 days, this is what the deal that we are offering you. So it is as if I was being watched by eyes all around me. That's the feeling I got. First time ever. It's not that, targeted marketing has been occurring, direct mail and everything else has been happening for a long time. But this was a feeling that every mouse over, not just every click, was now being modeled at databases in big data. Okay, so this was a transition, and this, as I said, in November, December of 2012. And people have said that this is a watershed, at least in the American and those markets which are using a lot of data sophistication at this point. So basically, in marketing, we have therefore this dualism. We have a compelling need to measure, but at the same time, we also have a compelling need to innovate, which means we have to go beyond measurement. We have the compelling need to nail down things. I didn't know that there was going to be a nail on the thing. At the same time, we want to fly off. We don't want things nailed down. Because if you nail down everything, what's left to do? Right? Or we want to model everything, but the root word of model is also the root word of outmoded. If you are in the fashion industry, if you don't make your old dress outmoded, where is the prospect? Right? So you want to make your models outmoded as soon as you model them. You want to systematize things, and at the same time, as soon as you systematize them, you want to disrupt and destroy them. And there is nothing wrong with it. Asian philosophies have always believed in this dualism, so why should we be bothered by it? The yin and the yang, the Krishna and the Shukla Paksha, the Durga and the Kali. So we always have this dualism philosophically ingrained in our culture, in our lives. So I don't see a problem with it. But this is a continuing message that I want to hammer, that we have to live with this dualism. So, put in other terms, we, in marketing and in fields which are strategically business growth-oriented fields, there is going to be always a tussle between metricization and disruption. And in fact, if this struggle ends, we are in trouble. That's the overarching message that I want to leave you with. So by its very nature, marketing is dialectic in this sense. It has both these elements. There's tremendous desire, need. I think the SPJIMR initiative here is excellent to metricize, to nail things down. But at the same time, we also need the other side, the ability to be creative, to disrupt, and escape the established metrics, because that's what would ultimately give you entrepreneurial and competitive edge in whatever whatever endeavor that you are in. So that's kind of the stage setting part here, that we have this enduring dualism in marketing. We do need to metricize, but at the same time, we need to keep those creative tendencies alive and keep the two in some type of a balance. Now, some of those trends, which are just happening very, very fast. They are very often happening from the advanced, economically advanced nations, sometimes not. And they are global. They are not taking too long to globalize. So it's not as if things happen in the US and then it takes 6 months for it to reach India or Africa. It just happens very fast these days. One of them that you're very familiar with is the pervasive rise in social media. People are, the whole idea of what is friends or who do I interact with is getting reshaped. And so even this guy has all these friends waiting outside. He wants friends on that screen, on that interface that he deals with. Intergenerational interactions are changing. So in the old days, the mom would have said, couldn't you have given a call if you're going to stay out so late? Now she wants to know, why didn't you update your Twitter status if you're going to be out so late? And then, for some people, the world is just moving too fast. I used to call people, then I got into emailing, then texting. Now I just ignore everyone. So, I mean, they're saying, stop the world, I want to get off. You know, this is just too much is happening too soon, too fast. This is more than I can handle. But retail is changing. Again, an example of a trend. So social media was the idea of those few slides, that the pervasive impact of social media. Here is my prediction on social media. Facebook, India is going to be the #1 Facebook nation in the foreseeable future, and Facebook will have to open an alternate global headquarters in India in addition to San Francisco. It is bound to happen. And the reason for this is very simple, and this is a different presentation that I've been making at other places in India, that there is an East Asia social media space which is totally different, which is the non-alphabet-based languages, okay? And that space, in fact, I don't know how much understanding there is in India, but that space is as large, as powerful as the text-based, or rather alphabet-based social media space. And because Indian languages are, like European languages, alphabet-based, India will dominate just through sheer demographics. Coming to another trend, this is Tesco's virtual store. This is at the metro station in Korea. And basically, those shelves don't have the real thing. They look like real shelves. You just use your phone to scan the QR code, and the goods, that's purchasing. And the goods are delivered to your home by the time you take the train and reach home. Okay, so this is an example of the kind of things which are happening in terms of using technology in retailing and information technology all together seamlessly to deliver a whole different kind of very convenient consumer experience. This, of course, is a trend that we all are so familiar with. The mobile, I think we are at about 6+ billion handsets at this point, and it's, I think, the population of the planet being about 7.7 billion, probably 2013 or 14 we'll see the size of the mobile handsets equal to the population of the planet, and it'll keep expanding. So this is clearly a trend which, I mean, India has changed enormously just with this one trend. Even the ex-President Bill Clinton in the Time cover story did on 5 changes that are shaping the world. This was his #1 trend in Bill Clinton's Time magazine article. And then at the back end of the technology, this is again a statement from the TCS CEO, MD, and that is this big data, cloud computing, big data, anticipatory computing, Internet of Things, augmented reality, unfettered bandwidth, social computing, smart devices, etc. Google is launching, so these devices, the one with the screens that you put your fingers on, the technical term for that is haptic devices. At least at the leading edge of the markets, those people who are the innovators and leaders and want to be, avant-garde will say, you have a haptic device? How old-fashioned. Haptic devices would be replaced by wearables and then eventually embedded at the leading edge. It'll be a long time before that becomes global. But these are the kind of things which are happening. All of these make the data nexus bigger, stronger, pervasive, etc. Again, numbers are boring, but basically mobile internet accessing G20 just going to be exploding, mobile app revenues exploding. Here's something that you may be less aware of. The superstar social media of 2012 was Pinterest, which is a visual social medium. It had a 4,225% growth last year. The next in line was Tumblr at 166%. So, I mean, even compared to number 2. It's just incredible. There's a whole different story about this. I have one doctoral student who's kind of looking at this as to what visualization does. As you can see, I'm a very visual person. I cannot deal with just numbers or words. I need the visualization. And I can see why Pinterest is taking off. I don't want to leave you the impression that all these trends are goody-goody, positive, the world is becoming a better place. The negatives are as strong, if not more compelling. Climate change, water emergencies. I think the Eureka Forbes was a great example. The energy crisis, inequality, poverty. So the storm clouds are as bad or stronger compared to those silver linings. And it's going to be a tug of war balancing. So that's just to give you an idea of the trends. Basically, a lot of informationalization of the world at all levels. And then connectivity, social elements coming into it, etc. So this is the kind of world that we are moving into. So how do we capture it? And I'm offering you some mnemonics, some ways of putting these things in 5 the-end narratives. So all these things could be captured in the end of this or the end of that. So what are the 5 the ends? Well, the first is the end of privacy. I think this is known. Scott McNeely was the co-founder of Sun Microsystems, and he said 20 years ago, you have 0 privacy, get over it. And it's a fact of life. We can fight and rail against it, we can tear our hair out. It's a fact. There is no privacy. We live in a world of data deluge. Big data is, as all these things that I've said, it's going to increase rather than decrease. We are living with, we enjoy having in our pockets and in our breast pockets or and wearable at some point, always on, location-aware, trackable devices. You know, that's what gives us kicks. So, I mean, we are ourselves complicit in it. There's no reason why we have to be surprised by this. But I think with all of these, we have to do a little bit more interpretation. It's not, you know, the French philosopher Michel Foucault talked about panoptic society, which is, you know, the panopticon was the prison where the guards always watch you, and therefore the prisoners stay disciplined. We're not becoming a panoptic society. We're becoming an omnioptic society because our ability to look into companies is also increasing. Julian Assange is a great example. Okay, so we are becoming an omnioptic society, and we are not being captured in databases in our holistic forms. We are captured in as splintered beings. Okay, it takes a lot of effort to capture. I'll come to an example of that. So on the other side of end of privacy is end of opacity. And of course, as these things end, with, you know, for example, the ICIC banking initiative, I mean, security becomes paramount. There's going to be increasing amount of premium on security because, yes, I'm willing to give up privacy, but I don't want my money stolen from my bank account or my mobile account or whatever account or store account. So security will continue to rise in importance. And in companies, if you're an investor, these are some of the bets that you should be placing. The other is end of isolation. Again, this was that social trend. Social everything, integrated media, and embedded and pervasive media are becoming the fact of life. Right? So we are living in a media-saturated world, constantly connected, and these are social. It's not just one-to-many old model, or it's many-to-many type of model. And again, the further things here is that the kind of things I see as a result of this is that we'll have to redefine the idea of trust, because increasingly, let's say if you're Pranesh Mishra and you're running a brand consultancy, how much of the trust is moving away from trusting the brand, trusting the stores, trusting some seal of approval by some organization to trusting your friends or trusting your social network. So trust is getting redefined in this connected world. There also is going to be, for those privileged few, the search for solitude. Can you have a way of electronically in the solitude? The best, most premium vacations would be the unconnected ones at some point. People would, the spa guys, this is your opportunity. Offer a solitude spa. And then also, because of this extreme connectedness, there's going to be more and more opportunities for collaboration and localization, which is the opposite of globalization. And again, the ability to do entrepreneurial things, ground-up organic things, is going to increase because of this connectivity. This, I think, is already known. The end of brand loyalty. The original statement that came, again, by one of these wags of the 120 years ago, there ain't no brand loyalty that 2 cents off won't buy off, holds. I think we saw the example of that with the Mercedes versus the Porsche Boxer. 50 shades of fickle is what we are today. Especially in India, in Chindia, we live in offer-driven markets totally. But this is not just in there. With economic crisis hitting, that offer-driven culture is percolating up even to the advanced societies, which would not have paid that much attention to prices and offers are now paying attention. So challenges for marketers: can we come up with meta-loyalty programs which go beyond traditional brand loyalty notions? Are there forms of social loyalty that will emerge? I can bet there will be social loyalty patterns and metrics that will emerge in the future. Can there be meta offers, which are not just brand specific? And again, that localization versus globalization. I think in general, local organic would continue to attract more premium in these type of settings. Because for local, you are often willing to bend the offer rule. If it's global and branded, you want the offer. But if it's local, different emotional things come into play. This was already referred to: end of cash. The device is becoming the wallet. Microtransaction, Kenya's M-Pesa was mentioned. So again, the leadership is very often coming not from the advanced nations, but from the developing nations. The Tesco Korea example, again, the end of the wallet, all you did was just captured that QR code. So this is clearly happening. It'll happen in different ways. And again, there are lots of opportunities here. I think, especially in countries like India, the micropay innovations are going to be tremendous, and I think there are going to be lots and lots of models. One of the things, for example, just a simple idea. Japan and China, to some extent, are not tipping cultures. India is. It's a problem with somebody like me. Nobody gives you change. Okay, so if I have to give 30 rupees or 50 rupees, if I have only 100 rupees in my pocket, I feel, okay, it's $2, okay? So I can be an American and say it's $2, but hey, it's 100 rupees. Why can't we have a tipping system where I can say, this is the tip, and everybody has a mobile, so there should be a tipping. There's an innovation. Entrepreneurs, get working on it. Also, who is going to be the winner here? Banks, telecoms, the device makers, or others? Who's going to run the show? And there are different, again, everybody has opportunity. It's not as if one or the other will win. And also, the idea of walled garden is that everything is within a particular platform. Will they succeed? Apple is a good example of a walled garden type of strategy. Or will it be a cross-platform strategy that will win, the Android? So, that debate is going to continue. And finally, people are saying, with all this comes the end of marketing. Why? Because a person went to the biggest electronic show in the US is in Las Vegas in December. He went to it this time, and he wrote that one thing that struck him is how everything is getting cybernetic. Cybernetic ads, cybernetic stores, like the Tesco one, cybernetic homes, cybernetic cars. Google has self-driving cars now, and many others also showed it. In fact, there were cars being shown at the Consumer Electronics Show for the first time in 2012. Cybernetic appliances. So once everything is cybernetic, everything is connected, after all, buying a nice dress or a sari is a fun adventure, but day-to-day stuff, let that be automated. So there's going to be pervasive automation, at least in some parts of the world, in many of the marketing and transactional processes. This also means that if things get so automated, some people, just as that Sol Etude opportunity, some people will say, I need to stop and get off this automation. I need to make my own decisions. I need to feel the thrill of the kill in the store. Okay, so some people would want opportunities to shop when there are no opportunities to shop because everything will be so automated. And therefore, again, opportunities from the entrepreneurial point of view to innovate and disrupt. So again, to come to now really the end, discussion first. Let me give you a little story. This is the Chuck Hollis, who is the global marketing VP. EMC Corporation is the biggest technology company in the cloud computing field. They are the ones who run the big technology behind the screens, behind the screen that makes all the big data possible. But this is what happened to him personally. He came to office one day and he found a mailer which had a 2-kilogram solid, nice chocolate, very premium chocolate, and a hammer. It was from if you read the thing, it's United Hemispheres magazine, which is the in-flight magazine of United, and basically saying, break the bar, and urging him to advertise in the magazine. And Chuck then is writing, he writes a reflective blog, he's writing, these guys are stupid. They're using big data in the most stupid manner. I'm a B2B firm. I don't do the kind of advertising they want me to do. Our company does almost no magazine ads. Ironically, this is a company that allows people to do good analysis with big data, but obviously United Airlines or the ad agency or the market research agency that came up with this didn't do a good job. Chuck says, I'm in my early 50s. If I eat chocolate like this, the cholesterol is going to kill me. And he says, anything that you wanted to know about me is available in data. So he realizes the zero privacy thing. But he says, these guys didn't do their homework. And this is what is happening, that the big data is there doesn't mean that. So basically, the battle that needs to be won, I think I want the battle between metricization and disruption not to be won. I want that to remain a tug of war, but this should be won. Dumb metricization should lose to smart metricization. And similarly, creative disruption should win over pointless disruption. Right? So those battles need to be won. So that was kind of a little discussion here. So finally, now this time it is really the end. So I want you to leave that tug of war metaphor in your head, that let's not say that metricization will kill disruption. Let's keep the two in balance because we need both for marketing to remain relevant. We need both the images, the one on the left and the right, the creative, the bean counter in marketing, but we also need the creative, airy, flary guy or gal. The moment the dialectic character of marketing disappears, it becomes irrelevant both as an organizational function and as an academic discipline. So let's not lose this tension that exists in marketing. So time to get back to work. Let me end by poetry. The very famous line from Elizabeth Barrett Browning, written again more than 100 years ago. How do I love thee? Let me count the ways. The rest of the sonnet is there if you want to look at it. But basically, here's the last thing I want to say, that yes, let's emphasize on counting the ways, but let's not forget that we need to love the customer. Okay. out of time, right? Yeah, so let's do the Q&A at the panel discussion. Thank you.